So as the intro said, my name is Joel Markham. I'm the CEO and founder of iCoTech Services. And let's jump straight in. Cool. So today's agenda, thank you for marketing team for sorting it out for me and putting it together. And thank you for the technical team for doing a little bit of a build over the last couple of days as well on getting some demos sorted. We're going to do an overview of PowerApps, just a very simple, high-level conversation on the PowerApp technology itself. Then we're going to go into Dynamics 365 in a bit more detail, and just show you what that looks like, what it does, and some of the components in there that we use quite heavily at iCoTech, and also our customers use them as well, which is the marketing app and the CRM app. And then I'm going to do, well, the reason for doing that is because I wanted to show you the kind of the pro CRM and marketing tools and how they work. And just give you an overview really of how the pro tools work, but this being a kind of the simple power app in the use of CRM, I wanted to show you that pro detailed application first before we move into a simple CRM in PowerApps. And really I want you to walk away from this session today with an understanding of what you can do with it Dynamics if you buy the Dynamics license and heavily invest in a corporate enterprise-wide CRM solution, versus actually if you just want a very simple CRM, how you can take the components of the Dynamics system and stitch them together in your own Power App, and build yourself a little mini CRM. We had a customer who's actually a friend of mine who runs an automotive windscreen fitting business. A couple of years ago came to us and said, look, I'm just struggling to manage my accounts, my contacts, is just a bit messy. Can you help me? And that's kind of how we built the simple CRM for that use case. So I'll show you the very first version of his application later on in the session. So as always, if you've got any questions, please do raise your hand on Teams, and we'll come to you and your thoughts. We'd like to make it an open session, having some dialogue. So if you do have any comments or any questions, feel free to raise your hand on Teams, or even just put them in the chat window in the conversation pane, and I'll come to them and answer those questions for you. If I can't answer the question, I'll take the question away and talk to the technical team, and yeah, come back with any answers directly to you at a later date. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump straight in. So my background, I guess, is PMO, project management, project delivery. I started life in Welsh Water, in Dual Cymru Welsh Water in Wales, here in Cardiff actually, and I went on to Lloyds Banking Group, and I spent a year in Lloyds Banking Group. That was quite exciting. And then I spent 5 years in Babcock International Group, kind of moving around there, but ending up as the head of projects and governance for that organisation. And our first customer of iCoTech really was Companies House, hiring me as a change consultant, where I ended up heading up the transformational portfolio over at Companies House here in the UK, which is quite exciting. iCoTech now, kind of 28 months later, has been a whirlwind journey, has grown massively. It's been a great journey and a great success, which is really exciting to be a part of. But we have some great customers. So our clients, just some of our clients include the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy, Office for National Statistics, Betty's and Taylor's, the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, DEFRA, Simbeck Orion, ACAS, and IPO as well. I'm not going to read them all out. There's a lot of other customers in this space as well, but we just like to highlight these guys because they're some of our key strategic customers that we're working with closely at the moment. I guess iCoTech is unique in our approach, is different. So we're always stretching the tools and the systems that we use. So we kind of practice what we preach in a way. We've got the best technology tools in Dynamics CRM, in all of our project management tools, and all of our kind of customer integration tools as well. We love having good ideas and always kind of collating good information and good data and statistics. So we're using Power BI quite heavily to run our business. And improve the way we operate as well. So we're always researching and innovating. So I'm always asking the development team to come back with the good ideas club, and really kind of push what we're doing and break the mold. And we're kind of naturally pushing our customers to do the same as well. People and collaboration. So I think we've got the best people, but we put a lot of effort into finding the best people, and we always collaborate. So here in iCoHub, we're always collaborating with our customers and our partners. Learning and sharing is what this is what we love to do. One webinar a week at the moment, which we're on track to achieve this year, which is really exciting. And we like getting all of our learnings and content and value back out into the community, hence why we're having this webinar today. We love relationships and building great, strong relationships and networking. All of that to us is delivering value at pace, really. Without any one of those individual components, we wouldn't be able to operate in the way that we do. So what we do is broken down into 4 key components. So solutions, we build specific solutions, business solutions using the Microsoft 365 technology stack. So these might be ideas hubs, project portfolio management solution, grant management systems, kind of lessons learned logs. We've done corporate risk management tools. It's been a whole wide range of business specific solutions utilizing the Microsoft 365 technology stack to build those. We've then got products. So these are some of the products that are in the making at the moment. So we've partnered with a few organizations where we're building their technology. So we're building their service offering using the Microsoft 365 technology stack. So PowerApps, Azure, and those type of technologies. And service. So we do support a number of customers in a Power Platform as a service capability, plus also Microsoft 365 service as well. So we've got a support and iteration process which we take our customers through when they've built big, complex Power Platform solutions. They want somebody on hand to go and fix it or iterate on that service if they need to. Then consulting. So consulting's in and around everything that we do, really. So the way in which we deliver change, the way in which we ensure that our customers have adopted the technology that we're delivering in partnership and collaboration with those organizations is really important to us. Success, is for us is whether the system is still being used and still being modified and iterated on, a year after we've delivered it. And we wouldn't be able to do that and use that as a measure of success if we didn't have a consulting team here in iCoTech services. So that's really important to us. So there's lots of applications available in Microsoft 365. I think last time I could be bothered to count, there was 48 applications that I counted that you could go and get access to within Microsoft Cloud and 365. I'm sure there's another number out there that's more accurate than that count. But what we really specialize in here at iCoTech Services is Project Online, PowerApps, Power BI, and Dynamics 365. Really, that's kind of our forte. That's what we do. We're a Microsoft Gold partner in PPM and application development as well. So yeah, that's what we do. In all of the things that we do, we have to have expertise in OneDrive, Power Automate, Teams, SharePoint, Exchange Online, all those other technologies that are there in the background. So we're stitching together those technologies to deliver that business solution or that product or help the customer along the journey with that service. So I hope that makes sense. That's kind of really where we are, who we are, and what we do. So let's jump straight into PowerApps. So PowerApps, I guess, is tailor out of the box solutions. You can embed forms and dashboards into these applications to run your business. There really is no one size, I guess, or one product that fits all. The idea of the PowerApp platform is to allow partners like us to build these business applications for yourselves and for our customers, but also allow what they call citizen developers to build these applications as well. So just like you build an Excel spreadsheet, I'm going to show you later on how you can modify a table in a Power App. It's meant to be that user friendly that if you can build an Excel spreadsheet or you can build a SharePoint list, then we've got citizen developers, end users, non-IT, non-developers using low code, no code technology to build applications. There's obviously time and investment required in these type of things as well, and I guess that's where iCoTech come in. We can help accelerate you to an application that works quickly because of the size and scale of our business and how we operate. But the idea is that you can actually go and support and modify and change that yourself. You don't have to be a coder to build a Power App. You can do it in a lot of different ways there. You've got and I guess they are immersive end-to-end solutions, so they can come from a portal, a website, through to an application and through to a mobile app as well. So they are really enterprise grade applications. And something that we were talking about the other day that's now public knowledge, and I'm able to share with you, is that NHS Wales built their COVID track and trace app using the Dynamics and Power Platform technology, and that's a massive success story for Microsoft, which they're about to start pushing out there now. So that was a 6-week engagement to build a track and trace application for the NHS Wales, which was not shy really of a miracle really, and some good work from the team across Microsoft and the partners involved in that to get that done. So just to show the size and the scale of that kind of this technology, it can be used for that. And it can also be used all the way down to a single individual developer trying to track his work and trying to build a backlog and build a sprint plan, etc. So it really is all encompassing, really, is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, just to summarize in a different way then, so it's a suite of applications. You've got connectors, you've got a data platform that sits underneath it. So all of the data management you don't have to worry about, but you're using something called the Dataverse to manage that data. It used to be called the Common Data Service, but it's now called the Dataverse. You could build custom apps, or you can take template apps, or you can outsource the development of your apps to someone like iCoTech. And you can connect with various other platforms like online or on-premise data sources. So I've talked about SharePoint, Excel, Office 365 more broadly, Dynamics, SQL servers. You can connect it to pretty much anything. Even if you've got on-prem rostering services or systems, you can connect it to those types of applications as well. Business logic and workflow is key in these things. So taking a record through a step-by-step guide, even talking about events, we were talking about our event process today at iCoTech, and using the business logic to take an event through, ideation, agenda, launching the event, promoting the event, and then actually, hosting the event, and then doing the end of event process. So, it really is about taking a record or an item or an activity through a business process and automating everything that comes off that, the website updates, the email registrations, the surveys, the content, the agendas. The whole thing is really designed to be automated, and that's what we mean by rich business logic. And we're using all those technologies I talked about earlier on to build that stuff. So yeah, it's all built in the Power Platform. All the kind of user interface stuff has been taken care of. So the buttonage, the font, the sizing, all that kind of stuff has been taken care of for us. It's just about building the logic, building the fields, building the tables, and off you go. You've got a system without writing really a single line of code. So that's what is really exciting about PowerApps. There's 3 different types of PowerApps. There's Canvas, Portal, and Model. Today I'm going to show you kind of a couple of model-driven apps, really. But Canvas apps are the form factor. A lot of people I spoke to in the past, so maybe 2 years ago, when I told them about PowerApps, they were like, "I have heard of that. That's the mobile app thing, isn't it? That's I can build an app for my phone." No, it's not. It's just one of the 3 types of apps you can build. Canvas apps, they are, a blank canvas, and you can be a bit more, you've got more freedom with the user interface. So you can make the buttons big, you can put, you can really design your Canvas app, from the ground up, really. It's best used for a tablet or a mobile form factor. It's not really designed to be used on a PC with a 27-inch monitor. That's not really where you'd use a Canvas app, although you could. It's no problem doing it. But that's if you're going to use, if that's your requirement for your users to access it from a 27, 24-inch monitor, then you probably go into Portals then. Now Portals is an externally facing website. It's got some great technology in there, so you can sign into a portal with a LinkedIn account, or Facebook. You can authenticate it through that. You can authenticate it through Microsoft. I think there's a couple of other connections as well that have been released that I've not looked into yet. But there's a lot of different technologies that are available to you within a portal, and this is like a website basically. So if you want to ask your customers to submit a ticket, for a service desk, you can build a portal that says hangs off your website. Log in, submit your ticket of your complaint or your problem, or if you want to surface invoices to your customers, you could do that through Portals as well. And that connects directly to your CRM tool, which we're going to show you in a few moments' time. Model-driven apps then a systematic form factor. So there's records going through processes, and that's really what I'm going to show you today. Everything I'm going to show you later on is about a model built in a model-driven app. I guess it's great if you've got lots of data, lots of records, lots of risks. You've got lots of issues, projects, or jobs, contacts, accounts. And you've got thousands or hundreds of records in the tables you put together. The model-driven app is perfect because you don't really have to worry about how it visually looks together. You've got the carcass of the application, and you're just building data within that, really, and information within that. So yeah, that's my favorite, to be honest, model-driven apps. I just think they're so easy to build, and if you've ever got a spreadsheet with multiple tabs, I'd encourage you to go and look at a model-driven app in PowerApps, because that's the next step. When that spreadsheet starts to crash, that's where I'd go into a model-driven app at that point. Okay. So, and just to recap, if there's any questions, any kind of any how does this work, or what's your thoughts on this, Joel? Just put them in the conversation window, and I'll be more than happy to answer them and give you my view. An example of what it can do, just as a very outline example, you could have a Canvas app which you kind of report in time against. So you've got a request for time, and you're able to go and connect to a SharePoint list, so that project request or project details, and then you could use Power Automate then to link that to an email workflow that could send out an alert based on some data or some controls or information. So it's the most simplest way I could articulate how the Power App technology and the Power Platform technology, using a Power BI report and a SharePoint list to store the data, and a Canvas app on the front end. You can see here that these kind of tick boxes and these signs and these fields, they're all built in a Canvas app. And the list of records is very much this kind of summary list of records. So again, on a phone, if you're dealing with 1,000 records, it's going to be a nightmare in a Canvas app. You're going to have to build filters in there or make them smaller. It's going to be difficult. But if you've just got an action, submit a photo or submit a time card, I've arrived, I finished, I've left, or whatever it might be, or an incident like a health and safety incident, click a tile, health and safety incident, take a photo, write some narrative on your phone, submit it, bang, into the SharePoint list it goes, or into the model-driven app it goes. So that's the kind of technology it's used for there, really. So that was PowerApps. Dynamics 365, separate but the same. And hard to kind of articulate, really, but I'll try and do my best. So Dynamics 365 is a suite of applications, and they're all interconnected, and it's a modular SaaS offering. So you can buy Dynamics 365 from iCoTech or from Microsoft directly, and you get a pre-configured modular ERP capability, really. And you can do that for as little one area of your business, like sales, or one area of your business, like marketing, or you could do it for all of them. You could have a sales function, a marketing function, finance, and do your P&Ls and project delivery, jobs, timesheeting, to customer service, to picking up the phone, recording a conversation, doing your tickets and your wallboards, those kind of things. Operations, I think that means kind of like your purchasing, your supply chain, buying stock, to field service then, where you've got people in a van, or telemetry going out into defining routes and stuff like that. So really is all encompassing. It is the big heavy hitter Dynamics 365 solution. But many people don't realize that, I guess, that you can pull this thing apart, and you can actually just acquire the sales module or the marketing module. And today we're going to talk about sales in more detail, really, and how you could use that. But yeah, that's kind of a brief overview of Dynamics. And I think the one main differentiator is to think about Dynamics is pre-built, it's predefined, it's got lots of logic in there already. PowerApps is a blank canvas. It's got all the capability, but you have to go and design your logic. You have to go and build your business process flow or your workflow. You have to define what fields you want to capture, what information you want to record. It's exactly the same technology to build the application, but it's just from two different perspectives. Is probably the best way to think about it. Make sure I haven't missed anything? Cool. So the marketing app. So just deep diving into one of those applications there, the marketing app. So it's all about marketing automation. I guess it's really about taking clients through a journey. So if you're in sales, if you're in CRM and you're trying to understand more about your customers, your audience, or whatever, or your communities you're engaging with, marketing is that way of communicating with a lot of organizations or a lot of contacts at once. You can create graphical images or emails in images, and you can pull content from different areas. You could pull content from LinkedIn, Facebook, and you can automate some of that logic as well. Some of the clever things you could do is around kind of heat maps on where people are clicking on emails, so you can over time work out where your audience is clicking or hovering or interacting with your email content, which is quite cool to see. So you can tailor your content to make sure it meets your audience's requirements. Another thing we could do as well is understand where the content is being opened from. So whether it's an email or a social post, we can see where that person or where that user is actually opening that data from. So it might be, in different locations in the world, and so on and so forth. But it really is about capturing a wide audience and really understanding how they interact with your services. There's also plugins on your website. So if you want to go and track, okay, so this person found us on LinkedIn and they landed on our website and then they emailed us and said, can I have some help with this problem, please? That's all readily available within the marketing system within Dynamics 365. Yeah, so that's kind of technology there. The CRM app, so the sales app, is really about kind of administrative processes in sales. So taking a sales lead through to a proposal and so on and so forth. And it's really about capturing every relationship you have and capturing every engagement you have within that relationship. So any interaction, a Facebook post or a LinkedIn message or an email or a Teams chat can all be tracked within Dynamics 365 if you want it to be. That's probably quite a mature CRM platform, but and probably quite a heavy one to administrate. So you'd have to be in a big organization with serious investment in that stuff. And I think that's why I wanted to talk today about the kind of PowerApps for CRM. So how do you take all that technology and how could you build it very quickly and start it for 10 really get something started. And that's what we really wanted to show you today, really. Again, I'll just repeat, any questions, any thoughts, any how to, or what does it look like, or anything, just any questions, put it in the conversation window and I'll be happy to answer, or raise your hand as well on the Teams function and we can take you off mute and have a chat. So yeah, that's the kind of the boring slide deck stuff. What I want to do now is to show you a Dynamics CRM in a nutshell. The system that we've got here is kind of like our sandbox. So it's like it's almost just the carcass of the system, and I can show you how it could be used or is used. I won't go into too much depth because we could be here for hours, and there's a couple of videos on YouTube for our CRM services as well, and how to use it in more detail. And then we'll go on to a simple CRM, and I'll show you the automotive app that we built for my friend's windscreen business, and just show you very simply how that was built. And we'll try and make some changes to that as well, and see if we can do some live changes on the webinar. Although I might risk things not working going to plan, but if I'm honest, for those changes, we'll just kind of do it as we go along, because that's the idea of PowerApps. It's meant to be intuitive to allow people that are non-technical like myself to be able to go and build these services. So without further ado, let me just make sure I'm going to open up the right window. Cool. So I'm just going to bring in our CRM test environment, sandbox environment. Cool. So this is CRM. Let's have a look and make sure that maximizes correctly. I don't know. Okay, apologies about that. We'll have to just see if that. Tell you what, let me take the slide deck off and see. There we go. Okay, it looks a bit better. So this is Dynamics CRM. All right. So in your Microsoft 365 environment, you'll have a number of different applications that you can procure or use. And I talked about them earlier in the slide, in that kind of dial diagram, where you've got field service, you've got customer service hub, you've got resource scheduling, the project service, which is all about your jobs and your automations. You've got your surveys, you've got a bit of solution health, really about understanding the health of your CRM itself. and you've got sales hub. So that's where we are now. I'm just going to jump into marketing very quickly. Marketing is, as I said, a predefined application that allows you to go and track your events. So you can log all your events on the system, and you can take those events through a process. So through a start, middle, and an end. There's effectively, you can start adding content for the event, like the event name, and you can take them through this business process I've got on the screen here, and you can start, booking out rooms, adding agendas, having sub-sessions. So you can get really complex with having sub-sessions in an event, right? And then have speakers talk to those sub-session tracks that you've got there on the screen. You can go crazy with it and start doing all your, event check-ins and that kind of stuff. Then you've got your scoring models. So I'm going to discard that because it'll take too long to fill out that. But you've got effectively here, these are creating a scoring model for a lead. So based on how engaged the lead is, you can drive some conditions that allow you to put a number against the lead. I say this lead is 100 points or 20 points, and so on and so forth. You can do social posts. So you can you create a new social post, and you can connect it through to Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, and you can add that media post here, and you can add some content, and you can post from different social accounts. So if it's an iCoTech account or a BP account or whatever it might be, ACAS account, it doesn't really matter, or an individual. So if it's the CEO or the kind of head of sales, you can script and control and schedule those posts coming through. You can even do, start storing your files. So if you've got a specific case study in a PDF document, you can store it here, and then that, that email or that event can pick up that file and forward it out to your audience. Videos, personalized messages, keywords, and content blocks as well. You can see how I could probably be here for the next hour talking about this module in itself. So I'm trying to kind of give you a summary overview of each of the components and whittle through them, because I just want to try and give you the overall content. Pages, you can set up marketing pages, marketing forms, call templates if you wanted to. If you have people making outbound calls and you're saying, can you take them through this script? Can you take them through this narrative? You can do those call templates in here as well, and all sorts of other services are in there. So that's marketing. With all these, you can create a set of dashboards. These will have no data in there because it's a sandbox environment, but you can create, how many active customers do I have? Who do I need to contact next? Who hasn't engaged with us for a while? You can look at all your appointments, all your conversations you've got with your customers, and you can track all your phone calls as well. All right, so it really is all encompassing, but this has got all the logic in there because it's Dynamics, that it's been pre-built, predefined. You have to take it through a set of steps in order for it to work. If you want to adjust this, then we use the Power Platform technology to adjust the system to the requirements. Customer journeys are quite cool. So you can build a customer journey. There's effectively like a channel to take an audience through a channel. So if it's phone calls, they might go through a phone call one to introduce the product or the offering, and then take them through a step-by-step process. And you can create these customer journeys. After I've given them a phone call, I've got their email address or whatever it might be. I can, based on the answers to questions, I can send them a LinkedIn campaign, or I can send them a form, or if they wanted more information, but next month, you can kind of delay that and do all that kind of good customer journey processes in there as well. So that's marketing. The next module I just want to look at, which I want to show you, is the CRM module, really, which is the kind of the sales hub function. I'm going to leave that, and it's going to shout at me because I haven't saved that record earlier on. But you can see here it's got the same style, it's the same kind of format structure of the system, but you just got different records or different entities, as they're called actually in the system, in the view of the navigation bar. So you've got accounts. These are your businesses, effectively your customers. So you might have the company 1, 2, 3. You might set whether it's acquired or targeted or what it might be. You've got your contacts, so first name, last name, Tom from the customer, Joel or Lauren or whoever it may be, and then they become leads when they're engaged and qualified opportunities are, the account that you're trying to acquire, I guess, in this example. All right, you can see lots of test data in here. You can even do some work on your competitors. Yeah, so if you want to list your competitors and you've got a bid that's closed lost, you can link that to a competitor and said, I lost that bid to that competitor. You can start doing some reports in Power BI on that as well. And you can see here, out of the box for Sales Hub, you start to bring in other components of the true ERP picture. So you've got quotes, sales orders, invoices, products, and you can start, identifying what your product is. Do you sell them by the day or the hour or the unit? Is there a bundle offering? Is there a family offering? You can see you could go into some real detail, and in its all-encompassing in its form, really. I'm just trying to get away from web products. Here we go. So you can add a product here in the system, and you can give it a product ID, you get a parent, a valid from to, price information, shipping costs. It really can. You can go as crazy or as simple as you want, really. Marketing lists. So this is where that kind of multi-connected system works quite well. If you just want to use the Sales Hub, you don't want to send your users into marketing specifically, you can bring through some simple elements of marketing into this system, and you can create quick campaigns in here as well. All right. You can either do goals, so like your KPIs every month. You want to go and sell X amount or contact X amount of people, or have, in our case, we want X amount of people attending the webinars. That's what we're kind of driving to do, is get more people in the community. And you can even use those goals and the historic performance to drive forecasts as well. So it will show you like the model of your projected forecast based on the data that you've got in the system as well. And I touched lightly on service and cases as well. This is kind of like your service desk. So we use cases for when our customers are in support and iteration. They want to change to a BI dashboard or change to an application, or something is not working. Then they go on to the portal and they will submit a case. It comes into our queue, and we can then disseminate across our technical team, and stop SLAs, give automated responses and all that kind of clever stuff as well. So yeah, hopefully I've just given you a whistle-stop tour. Apologies if I've gone too quickly, as to the CRM capability available within Dynamics 365. Focus more so on Sales Hub and marketing. As I say, if you want any more information on those two specifically, and you think you want to utilize that technology, then please do feel free just to email me afterwards, and I'm more than happy to spend half an hour with you to just focus on one of those specific areas and giving you some live demos and go down to the next level of detail, should you wish. All right. So moving on to the simple CRM then, to take it up a level, that's the Sales Hub that I went to earlier. You'll see all these products that were the kind of the same as the navigation landing page in Dynamics CRM. We're almost in the back end now of the system. The front end was earlier on in this user interface, and how the user would navigate between the apps. This is now back end. So if you that kind of analogy of working on the systems, the data, the tables, and the front end being the user interface and the GUIs and all that kind of stuff. This is how I kind of try and describe this being the back end of the system. So these are the same apps effectively, and then we're able to go into the solutions that we've built, and then we're able to dive down into a solution and talk about kind of the tables in there. So you could, if you wanted to play with this at home or in your own environment, then I encourage you just to have a go. Just go into solutions and click on new solution. You can define whether it's a published solution or it's a non-published solution, give it a name, or all that kind of good stuff. And I'll just show you the one that we did earlier, if you can find it. I did check. Where was that? Let's open this up. Here we go. So when I talk about the front end versus the back end, these are the apps front end, effectively. The solutions are the back end with the tables. So this is what we've built in that many months ago, if not maybe a year ago now, for the windscreen business that my friend runs. Basically, it's a very small, it's 4 or 5 vans, something like that, down in Cardiff, and he just wanted a way of tracking all his accounts and all his customers and all his jobs. As simple as that, really. So like a mini CRM solution. And you can see here that the look and feel of the system is exactly the same as the Dynamics CRM system, which costs a lot more than this. But this is just very simple for his administrative clerk to be able to go in here and to be able to add details to an account. So where is that customer based? Who's the primary, kind of email address of the customer, or the kind of account he's working with, and he's got some sort of prefix there for Heritage Windscreens account 002. So all that kind of stuff we built in there for him. And then he's able to go and define contacts, so he can give a contact for a, for an account specifically, and he can define a kind of mobile number. Please don't screenshot that. But yeah, that's my mobile number. But yeah, you can link it to an account then in iCoTech services, and so on and so forth. All right. I'm going to ignore the duplicate record, and that's the kind of technology that's available. See, the duplicate record detection. He can create an invitation to a portal in the future. He has all that technology available to him, but in a very, very simple, kind of process. The idea for Ben and Heritage Windscreens was to go and create a job management system, and his real use case was actually about glass, because it's Heritage Windscreens as windscreens business, so he fits windscreens. And the idea was that he would take a driver's license registration. I just say postcode there, but the registration was tricking my brain, of the car, and that he would know what car it was. Now, this won't work now because we've stopped paying for the license for this, but this had an integration through an API into the DVLA, so the Vehicle Standards Agency here in the UK. And what Ben is able to do now in his live environment is enter the registration number of the car, hit save and close, or just save it, and he's able then to go and pull back from the DVLA within a couple of seconds the vehicle make, the year of manufacture, the color, the fuel type, the engine capacity. Because interesting, I didn't know this, but all this kind of vehicle make, the year it was manufactured, all that kind of stuff does have an impact into what size screen he needed to order. And his problem was that he was getting told that it was a 2001 on a Y plate, or whatever it was, and you'd buy the glass and then you'd get this to the customer's home, and the customer would got the year wrong or something silly, and the model had changed, and therefore the glass had changed, and so on and so forth. So that's the use case he had. And obviously this is a very old version of the system. His system is now much more advanced than this, but this is where we started. This was the very first kind of proof of concept of the simple CRM system we built him. So yeah, that's kind of the template that I wanted to show you, and the simple use case that I wanted to take you through. There's some other features here that I wanted to walk you through that come from Dynamics 365, and they are the import to Excel feature, the export to Excel feature as well, so you can bring down all these tables as dynamic tables, and build your pivot charts on them as well, or your reports for your business, or you could create your reports inside the system itself. All right, and I wanted to show you really how easy it is to change these systems, and so I just want to make up a change and just show you, hopefully, fingers crossed, how you would go about adding a field into this CRM. So just to show you that you don't have to be an IT developer or geek, to be able to do this kind of stuff. If you're competent with Excel, with a bit of training and support, you can make these changes. So I'm just thinking of what else to put here. So in a customer contact, it might be quite good to actually, if I go to job, let's go to this job here, job 19. Let's just put a field in here called country, or something simple, just to show you how it goes from the back end to the front end of the system. So what you would do is actually go into your PowerApps environment, make sure you're in the right environment for the solution as well. You go to the back end, as I said earlier on, and I believe that it's called iCoAuto in this case, because that's our kind of code name before it would be named the solution. So you can open up the solution itself, and it shows you here what objects you've got in the solution, so what components of the solution that you've got. Now, you'll see here, this isn't code, it's just logic, it's just tables in a system. And you can see here we've got the job table which we're using. So job table here is the jobs here, so it's the same thing. I'm just going through the editing version of the back end of the system, basically. So I'm going to go into jobs, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a field, and just add a field that I want to capture, and it might be, let's just go into add column, and we're going to do it here. We're going to call it the country, and we're going to make sure we can spell, which I definitely can't. You could do choices here as well, so you can automatically create like a drop down for the customer or the user. So you could predefine what choice you want to use, and you can pick from all your choices that are there already. Yeah, so all these different ones have been made from across the system, or you can create your own. So in this case, let's create our own choices. Let's do a Wales. Okay. It's always weird when you type on a live screen, your brain forgets to be able to spell. That's typical, isn't it? I don't want to do that, so I'm rushing. Okay. There we go. So, you can see here, like, there's no, I don't know, it's not clever stuff really, it's just simple. I've forgotten Ireland, but I'm in a rush for time, so apologies, Ireland, and everywhere else in the world. But so there's no default value, or actually in this case, because he's based in Cardiff in South Wales, I'm going to put the default value as Wales here. All right. You could do some other things like calculations or roll-ups if you wanted to, and you can do other settings. But for now, we're just going to say done. You can see here it's highlighted in bold, so it's clear to see that this field has now been added into this table within this solution. All right, so I'm going to save the table now. I God, I hope this works. This is going to be rather comedic if we get to the end of this and it doesn't work. I'll be getting Shantino over from the other side of the room to come and help me. So we're going to go to forms, and because a form is the technical name for this here. This is a form, and we're going to go into just double check what view is in. And we're just going to make sure we get the right one. So it's the main card. Is the view, and you could do some simple things like making sure it looks the same, And if you've not been here a long time, it'll kind of take you through, like kind of guides or step-by-step guides of how to do this as well. So, don't click off these. A lot of people I see just kind of click off them and get impatient. Actually read them and understand what they're trying to do. And trying to show you, because they are quite useful, and so on and so forth, as he clicks off. So the idea here is this is the form. You can see here it looks broadly the same. I'm pretty sure there's nothing here that's blatantly obvious that's missing. So I think I'm on the right form for this system. I'm going to click up here, this ABC. These are my the kind of table columns that we've added, and you can see country is there as well. All right, so it's in my environment. It looks like it's named the same. I'm going to drag and drop it, simply drag and drop that into country. There we go, and I'm going to save that now. All right, so I'm going to save that, and I've made the change to the back end of the system now. It should not go through now. So HR19, where we here we go, back into the front end of the system, and you can see the country isn't there, which is good. That's fine, because all I've done is save the change. I can go away now, make my cup of tea, do whatever I want, come back to it, add my fields, or do some other logic in there as well. I haven't published that to the application itself, so people are still using the front end application at the moment, and I'm not publishing that to that service. What I've got to do is go over here, and now it's going to take all the changes I've made and publish them to the Heritage Windscreen app. I hope. I always have to caveat these things with I hope. I'm just a bit OCD weird, so I'm going to publish it again just to make sure it actually published it. No harm in pressing the button twice. You can see it's come back now, so yeah, it should be published into the system. So what we're going to do now is go back into here. I'm just going to hit refresh as well. Just going to go back into the system just to make sure it's not stored in my cache or anything like that. I'm going to go back into job 19, and there we go. It's found the record there for me. One thing I will note and be obvious there is it hasn't captured or stored the default record there. So I did think I set it up to say default as Wales, but it hasn't. So I'm going to save and close that. But that's a simple way of showing you how to add a field into a form in a PowerApp. So, you know, even if you just watch this video back in a couple of weeks' time and go to make.powerapps.com, you know, you should be able to go and take the accounts entity, take the contact entity and the jobs entity, and start building out the forms and the fields that you need in order to run your mini CRM. You know, it's really as simple as that. You know, don't have to do any APIs with any third parties. You can just start off with building your forms and building your fields, going from there, really. If you had a list of contacts, you can import your contacts from Excel. You can import from Exchange as well, which is quite cool. Be wary of that. Just be careful. And then you can do your other things as well from CSV files and so on and so forth. Yeah. So that's the little mini CRM. It's bugging me a little bit that that default value didn't come up. So we're just going to go back into the entity itself, because in this use case, most of the customers are in Wales, hence why I want the country to be Wales as a default value. I go back into the field itself. It's interesting. It is a default value. It's just not coming up in the form itself. So the system's defeated me on that one. Put it that way. I'll ask Shantina later on, one of the developers here, to work out why that is. But yeah, so that's it really. If you wanted to see another kind of requirement is that you wanted to see the field of the country in this view. This is a view. You could go to the back end of the system, but understand, I guess, take note of what view you're looking at. All direct customer quotes is here. And you could go find the view, all direct customer quotes, click on the view, very much the same as the form, where you look at you find the field and you drag and drop that into here. He says, drag and drop that into there. It's just a bit of a fiddle to get that in there. There we go, country. You could also press the new button here and search for the field here as well. Save, same process, save it, then publish it. And then, you know, fingers crossed, refresh on the front end of the application, and you know, that's how you've built your first view or modified your first view. So, you know, it's a simple CRM tool. You can capture all your customers in the accounts. You could capture all your contacts in the contacts, and you could do something like jobs or projects or whatever you wanted to do to try and manage those interactions with your customer.